Hello everyone, welcome to another video. So in this video, we will be talking about chapter number 2, part 2. So in the part 1, if you remember, we discussed the browser tools. We discussed a couple of browser tools, how you can inspect a web page, how you can see the page source, how you can do the live editing, how you can remove the CSS, JavaScripting, etc., and how you can validate your code in order to make sure the compatibility of your code with the cross browsers. In this particular video, we will try to understand couple of things. Number four main agenda items. So semantic tags. What is the semantic tag? Why do we need to use it? And what would be the advantage of using semantic tags over non-semantic tags? If you decided to use semantic tag, then how the body is going to be organized. So body will be organized into 3 tags: header, main, and the footer. We'll discuss that how. And the main is basically where we're going to put the actual content of the website. Header, where you're going to put the you can say the introduction. For example, if you're making your resume, so for example your name, all right, that could be in the header. And the footer, where we can add, for example, over links like social media links, LinkedIn page links, maybe your private website and things like that. uh, a small idea about how you should structure your project when you make a structure, you make your HTML project, how you can structure that. And lastly, we'll discuss a couple of tags that you're going to see here in header main tag, like navigation, how to use the block, inline elements, div tag, span tag, things like that. So that's the plan for today. Let's talk about the first agenda item, that is semantic tag. By the way, one thing which is very important in semantic or non-semantic option, your website is going to look same, but the major advantage of semantic tag is it's going to be very well organized. Search engine optimization is going to work better on your computer. It's going to work very better on your computer. Other than that, it will also create ease for you. Like ease for you mean like it's going to actually, for example, if anybody's searching your website, if anyone is searching your website, so if you're looking for a specific portion, I mean, it's going to show up on the web on the search engine as well. Why? Because you wrote your website or code in a very well mannered or structured method. So on my left side, if you see, this is non-semantic way to do it or design a website. On the right side, very organized. You see, header, article, things like that. We'll see that in a bit. Div is, by the way, one of the tag which is like a very generic tag. We'll see that it basically create sort of a container where you can put multiple tags inside it. You can make a whole web page by using div. We'll see that. So just a small comparison between semantic tag versus non-semantic tag. So semantic tag, as I mentioned earlier, right tags for the right job, right? Very well organized. The search engines are, for example, browsers, they will better interpret the websites which have been designed using semantic tags. Non-semantic, generic tags, you use generic tags, not very search engine friendly, optimizations friendly. Browsers will just take it like whatever the code is, it's going to pitch you. But if typically the developers, they use the semantic way to design the websites. Website look the same for user, but actually it's going to be much. You are basically when you design a website, your main job is you want your website to become more prominent on search engines. So why? So the thing is, like, for example, you want a good ranking of your website on search engines, right? If your website is not very friendly for search engines, it will automatically go down. But if your website has been created in a good manner, very well structured, search engine optimization, are they going to automatically improve the rank? How? Semantic tag. We'll see that how it's going to happen. Another important way is accessibility. For example, if you've designed the website in a very meaningful, structured way, it's going to be very easy for people who are using accessibility features. For example, read out so they can see, okay, oh yeah, this is the header. That's the main, where the actual content is. Okay, that's the footer, links and all that stuff. But in semantic, it's like vague. We'll see that how we can design it. But these are some of the tags that we use in the are called semantic tags: header, footer, article, section, nav. We're going to see all these things. Again, I repeat, website is going to look the same. If you use semantic and non-semantic, it doesn't make any difference. Div, bold, italic, span, these are non-semantic tags, right? Let's see how we can do it. This is basically structure, how the body is going to look like. If you decided to use semantic tags, you will have a header. Inside the header, we put navigation. We'll see that what's the advantage of navigation. The main, where you can put some section, article, section can have further subsections, etc., etc. And then we got footer that we talked about. So body will be divided into three tags: header, main, footer. All right, header tag. Now, the header tag, what is the header tag? As I mentioned earlier, it's going to actually, we just put it just for introduction, or you can put some navigation links. We'll see that when we put the navigation links. As I mentioned earlier, semantic location, you can put it anywhere. But typically, wherever you see the headers typically come right onto the top of the web page, right under the body. Different than heading, it's just a structuring. I repeat, structuring. It has nothing to do with headings and all that. And multiple instance means you can use it multiple times in the same web page. But typically, we use it one time. But it can be used anywhere. You can use it inside the sections as well. Let's take a look. So if I go back to my VS Code, all right, I already have something. Okay, so I'm going to actually go to the body. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put header. All right, inside the header, I can put here Omar. All right, and now let's see how our website is going to look like. Oh, sorry, my bad. Right click, open. That's my website. Just like normal, you type the name, right? But now if I right click and inspect, now you guys going to see here inside the body, there's like a proper structuring. The browser, you don't know, they didn't say you thank you, but they are doing a thank you to you, right? Now, for example, if I go back here to, let's go up here. Let's say if I put here, I want to make it heading 1. Right, heading 1. Now, if I go back here, website become heading. But if you look at down here, it's a header now, inside the header, right? Inside the header, we make a heading. So that's going to be the search engines. They got it. It's basically the title. Now, for example, let's move on to our next one. And it's going to be the main tag. So the main tag is something where we're going to put over main website. What's the purpose? Purpose is the primary content of the website. Semantic, we already talked about it. Very important, main is going to come only once in the web page. It cannot be multi-instance. Just like in the header, it can be multi-instances. You can put it multiple times. But main is going to come only once, right? As I mentioned earlier, accessibility. People who are using accessibility feature, they get to know that. It is basically the main, like that's the main content of the website. Let's try that, how we could use it. Let's go back here. Let's say this is the header. I'm going to put main, like it's has nothing to do on the web page. If I go back here, nothing is going to show up on the web page. Same, right? If you go back, there's a main, there's nothing inside it. But inside the main, let's say if I put here paragraph, and let's put here, this is the content. All right, let's go back here to our web page. You guys can see here, this is the content, just like a normal thing. But now the website is very well organized. We got a header, we got the main, and let's say we put the footer as well. Inside the main, you can put some sections as well that we talked about. We'll see that. Sections. So inside the section, for example, you want your education, we're going to do in the project, the lab 2. For example, you can put the course you are taking, your education, etc., etc. Let's do it in the main. Let's make it. So purpose is you can group your content. Semantic, again, as we mentioned earlier, you can use headings. Typically, we can put it, and it can have nested within the nested, like articles, sections, and all that. Let's try that. So under the main, I'm going to do, other than this, I'm going to make it, let's say, heading 2. For example, let's say education, just like we did previously in our lab. Heading 2, maybe hobbies. For example, let's say heading 2, my favorite sites, anything like that, something like that, all right? So let's go back and check it out, how the web page is going to look like. Normal, but now this is very structured. This is going to be structured. You guys got it? Inside the main, we put some sections. Now, I didn't declare the section, by the way, my bad. All right, so we're going to go back here. We're going to put sections. This is going to be section 1. And this section heading is not going to do anything. You will see that. It's not going to do anything. Same go for this. We have to remove this section. And let's put one more section here. This is my third section. So inside the main, we basically put some sections. Just declare it. So you will see that the web page is going to be same. Nothing happened. But this is like main section. You guys see, if I click the body, everything is right here. So that's going to be my sections. And inside the section, we have all. So basically, we are properly structuring the website by using and making it more semantic tag. So that's what the semantic tag, use of the semantic tag is, and where we can make our website more prominent, more user-friendly, more browser-friendly, more search engine optimization friendly to improve the ranking of the website. So if anybody is searching for something, let's say they are looking for Umar Khokhar education, it will directly go to Umar Khokhar and education, this one. It's going to pop it up on the search page. I hope it kind of makes sense. Otherwise, please do bring the question in the class. All right. So I hope you got it. Article. Article is basically like, you can say it's like a separate entity, like independent, for example, blog or something which might not be directly related to your website. So you can directly put it. You can put it inside the inside the section, outside the section, but it has to be inside the main. Inside the main, but outside the section. It's kind of independent article, maybe the blog or things like that. Let me show you if you want. We can go back here. We can put it in the section, or we can make it article. Article. It's basically kind of an independent entity. Here is my blog, and you can make it, or you can add it in a group as well. So if I go back to the website, you guys see, it's just like article. You can independently use it. Then we have aside. Okay, aside is basically like, for example, you're putting some supplementary or some more material, let's say recommended books and things like that. This will basically tell the browser and the search engines optimization of search engines. Like this is like a not directly important content, but maybe it's like a supplementary content. So that's basically where we use, typically we use it for ads, the advertisement of the website, because those advertisements on the website are not directly related to your website. So we use typically aside. Again, semantic purpose is supplementing material, like side material. So let's see if I put it down here. Again, it's the main. So aside, and typically we can make a section if you want. Here are some of the ads, something like that. So if you go back here you go. Again, this is like, again, when the web page is being scanned, this will be treated as a side thing, like a side thing. All right, so next we got footer. Footer, as I mentioned earlier, footer purpose is just to add some extra hyperlinks, extra information. Semantic, again, location is typically at the bottom. It can be used multiple instances, but typically we use it only once. The content is copyrights, your social media links, your contact information, and these sort of things. Let's try that, how it looks. So footer, you guys got a footer, right? Just like EndNote footers. Here is my website, something like that. Let's say if I can put here, let me just put one thing here so you can, let me just click here, HR. You guys know the horizontal rule, right? And let's here's my website. Let's say href equal to, oh, I copied it. Okay, so let's see. For example, https www.google.com, something like that. And let's say, click here, something like this. All right. All right, so we can refresh the browser and take a look here. You guys got it? So this is like how we can, again, website looks same, just like we already did, but now it has better structure. It has a better structure. You can see all the structure inside the main. Very, very good structure of the website for the we already talked about. All right, let's move on. So that's all about over the semantic tags, how we can make a structure. Very, very important thing. How, for example, if you guys are making a good project, so better is if you can make folders. The structure of the folders are very, very important. The main file, the main directory is called root directory, where we can put over index.html file. The main, that's called the root directory. And If there are some other files, we should have a folder like HTML files. So all of our other files should be in that particular directory. CSS folder, like if you have any styling, we will do that later on. So we should have all the styles, all the fonts and everything, whatever you want, the colors, etc., in a different folder. JavaScripting, other folders. Images, you should put all the images in a folder. If you got, for example, the fonts, videos, you can put it under assets. And all those folders can have some folders, subdirectories. This is just a recommendation. Let me show you mine. If you guys see here, in my web page, I created an assets directory. Inside the assets, I got audio. Inside the audio, got some audio, right? Images, I got some images. So everything is like well decorated sort of way. The reason, and let's say if I create here, and let's say create a new folder. For example, this is going to be HTML. So all other HTML files will be right here. So let's say I'll open it up and let's see if I right click here, new file. For example, test.html. So that particular file is going to be right here in that particular directory. So index.html, if you guys see here, oh, my bad, I put index here. So, okay. So index.html file is going to be right under my web. If you guys see where other folders are, but other files, I mean, you can put it right there. So you can properly structure, because if you will have, when you will create a real project, you're going to see hundreds of files. So this is like a recommendation how your directory, your project should actually look like when you will work in IDE. Last few things, couple of tags. One of the tag which we have been talking about, that's called the navigation tag. Navigation tag is one of the tag which typically it goes in the header tag. If you guys see the header, you guys saw we put a navigation tag. So header tag where we can basically use or connect multiple portion of the web page. That's the navigation tab is. So for example, and here I'm going to show you. All right, let's go navigation tab. So for example, if I create a simple thing, let's say, let me delete everything and let me make it simple for you all. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a header. Inside the header tag, I'm going to create a navigation tag, NAV, navigation tag. All right. Inside the navigation tag, let me create, for example, let me create a link, anchor tag, and let me create here, for example, home, something like that, right? And I'm going to create the home here, and let me close it, and let's click home. And after that, we can put here HR, horizontal line. Okay. So after that, what I'm going to do is, let me create main tag, or if you want, let's say create a main tag. Inside the main tag, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually create here a paragraph, and let's say lorem 10,000. It's going to create randomly 10,000 words. Let's go to view world wrap. Okay, so 10,000 words have been created with a paragraph. 10,000 words. All right, 10,000 are too much, right? All right, so why I did it, I'm going to show you why, the reason. And after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a paragraph tag. Inside that paragraph tag, let me create an ID. ID of what? Let's say content, because we are using pound content. So we are using the content. So this is going to be, I have created an ID, a separate ID. Inside this content, I'm basically putting, for example, let's say lorem 5, something like this. Let's create it. So this ID, content is no ID, right? And this ID is being called here as a link in my header, as an in navigation. And those are basically about us, admissions, etc., right? If you guys see here, if I type here GGC, now if you guys see here, if I click GGC, it's the best example of semantic tag. You can see properly, I can see degree, program, how to apply, because there's a navigation tag has been applied, which are connecting different portion, different pages together. All right. And it is basically showing on the main website. Now, if I go back here, like here, okay, let's go back. Oh, sorry. Let's go back here. Let's create here. All right. If you guys see down here, this is basically the header. If I click on it, let me just close this. Okay. If you guys see 10,000 word, if I click on it, okay, this is basically what it is, and it should actually, there is a problem on the web page. Let's see. It should actually work. Let's see what's the wrong with it. Let's see. If home navigation is properly applied. And here, ID is content. Bottom. That's fine. Everything is good. All right. Let's see. My bad. It's not home. It is content. Sorry, folks. Content. All right. Content. Whatever. It's going to call home. But home is connected with content. Now, if I go back here, click the home, you guys will see it will automatically take you down here where that particular content is going to be. Right. This is the navigation. So I go back, click here. We went back here. I hope you guys got the idea about the navigation tab. So navigation tab is typically used. It is the main purpose is we basically, let's go back here. So the main purpose of navigation is it basically, you can create menus. It basically connect different sections, and automatically it is easy for accessibility if they are using any aids, so they can see that there's a navigation tag applied which can connect different portions. Block and inline are very, very important. Block, basically some element mean, you guys know what element is, like a tag and the content. Block elements basically always start from the new line. They always start a new line. You don't have to declare break. But inline elements, you need to provide a break. Otherwise, they will start from the same line. They will take a significant amount of your space, they will take all horizontal space on your web page, while inline will not take any. They will take only the space wherever that particular content will end, right? These are some of the tags which use block. Inline, same, within the line. Let me quickly show you that. So for example, let's delete everything from here, head to toe, and let's use the block element and the inline element. Just take a look. Oh my God. You got too much stuff here. All right. Body and HTML. All right. This was missing HTML. Okay. So inside the body, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what are the, let's use P. P is for, or heading. Let's use the heading tag. So I'm going to use heading H1. Let's say, as I mentioned earlier, this is going to be our block tag, and something which is non-block tag, and that is what? That is the span or A. Let's try A. Let me show you A. href equal to, for example, https://google.com and Google, something like that, right? And I'm going to actually put here, a break. See, all right. Now let's see how the web page looks like. You guys saw here, the web page is something like that. Oh, all right. Now, if you guys see down here, let's say if I select this just to see what's the difference in the block elements and the inline elements. Let's see, let's right click here, inspect. And inside the body tag, let's say if I click on the Omer, like heading, which is the block tag, you guys see the space here, like how much space they are taking, the whole block. But instead of that, if you guys click here to this href, the Google, you see it is taking only that space wherever that element requires. While right here in the heading, they are taking the whole space. That's the block, the major difference. And let's say if I go back to the web page, the VS Code, and let's say if you add here, remove this, add here H1, something like H1 testing, another heading. It's going to come to the next line. While if you copy this thing, which is inline, it's not going to start a new line. If you go back here, you guys saw that. Same line, but this is like on different lines. I hope this clarifies it. Got it? This is testing the whole block. Do you see? It's taking the whole thing. So that's the major difference between the block elements and the in block elements. And these are some of the examples of the block elements and in block elements. Div tag, we have been talking about div tag a lot, but div tag is basically used for, it's basically used as a container for other HTML. So for example, we use it typically for styling purposes. Let's say I want to apply styling on multiple HTML tags, the same styling. So rather than applying individually, you can put it inside the div tag. Let's see how it works. Let me go back here. Let's delete everything. So for example, if I use div tag, all right, and let me put here, for example, paragraph, hello, and let's say another paragraph, hello, testing, testing. And let me just put here HR, so right, so we can just put some, and let me put some break here, PR. All right, let's see how the web page looks like. First of all, you guys got it, hello, and everything is, no, the benefit and how it looks container. So if I click on the dev, do you guys see what happens? If you have 20 tags, let's say, let's put one more tag here inside the div. Let's say H1, hello. And let's go back here to the, you guys saw, and now if I go to div, you see everything inside it. And let's say if I put something outside it, outside the div, hello. All right, let's take a look how it looks like. For user point of view, it looks the same, right? But if you guys click here, this is the div, and that one was outside the div. You guys saw that? This is div, everything is grouped, that is ungrouped. Now what's the benefit? Now, if I click on the div, and in the styling, let's say if I put here color, for example, red. You guys saw everything get red. Rather than applying individually, I applied the color. That's the major advantage of div, where you put the, you have used the block tag. This is basically the block element, right? Basically for all the block elements. I hope you guys got the idea about the div tag. So the main purpose is you can put multiple tags together, you know, non-semantic and very generic. You can put multiple tags here. And the main advantage is you can typically use it for layouting in CSS, and flexibility is you can use it for IDs as well. The last thing is the span tag. What is span tag? Unlike the block tag, which is div, the block tag, unlike the block elements, we use span tag for inline element. Let me show you guys. So for example, the main purpose is if you want to do styling of a small portion of the text, for example. Let me go back to our web page right here. And let me, okay, so one thing which is very important, I think I just want to let you guys know, one thing which is very, very important, if I right click here, open whatever the styling we applied, it has not applied to over because we did, you remember it from the last part, right? It doesn't go to your server. It's just on the client side. Let's go to inspect again. Let's say what I'm doing is, for example, in hello E, let's say this hello E. All I want is for this E, you can, let's try that. I mean, we can put it right here. So let's say right here for this portion, hello, what I'm doing is I just want to actually apply span to this H. Span. Let's see, span. All right. So actually this is let's make it better. Let me do for this span. I mean, we can do in the coding right here. Let me show you from this first, and then let's say, for example, this HE. I just want to put here span tag, span, and let me do this span, HE and span. Apparently, it will look like hello, but you will see that what I'm going to do. So if we go back here, the web page, it looks hello, right? But if you guys see down here, there is a span applied. If I click on it, and if I do want to do styling, let's say color, let's do red. You guys see what happened, right? So the small portion of it. So basically it will apply to the line rather than the whole block, just in the div. It basically apply whatever you do to the whole block. Now by using span, you can basically select and apply the styling, or for example, there are a bunch of things that you can do to a specific portion only. This is the main advantage of span tag. That concludes our chapter number 2, part 2. So we have discussed semantic tag, non-semantic tag, and let's say if you decided to use semantic tag, how the body is going to look like. Will be split it into 3 tags: header, main, and a footer, structure, and some of the tags. Thank you very much, everyone. If you have any questions, please bring it up in the class. Thank you.